Vegas. We're going to be joined by Lewis Hamilton very shortly, but we do have our race winner George Russell and third place Carlos Sainz with us. So let's start with you, George. What a brilliant pole position for you yesterday and a seamless victory today. It's been quite a weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a real surprise in how strong our pace has been, and securing the pole yesterday I was so pleased with. And then I think we won the race in stint one. To be honest, stint one was exceptional, and I knew from there on in the only way we would probably lose the victory is if I grained the tyres and opened them up. So it was just a case of managing my pace, managing in the right corners, and bringing it home.
And having completed this race distance, do you have a greater understanding of why the car has been so good this weekend?
Yeah, I think so. It's no secret we struggle on the bumpy circuits and we have to lift the car quite a lot. We've got to make it much softer. And then we're in a downforce window where we don't have any. And it's not that we just suddenly forget how to set the car up. It's just certain circuits require us to put the car in a window it doesn't like to be. And on tracks like this, where it's relatively smooth, we can get the car quite low, quite stiff, with little or no bumps around the track. You know, we fly.
So what does this mean for the final two, looking ahead?
I think we've got a good shot in Qatar, to be honest. Going into this triple header, I had my sights set on Qatar, even to the point that I wanted to take my freshest engine out and put an old engine in for Vegas to save my best engine for Qatar. And I'm kind of glad we didn't do that now.
Look, quick, well, where's the party tonight? There was a bit of radio.
I don't know,
chat.
to be honest. I mean, I don't party that often. I don't know where I need to go, but I'll be going somewhere. This guy walking in will probably have a better idea than me. So, where's the party?
George, no clue, man. George, final one. Can we get a quick word from you on the job that Max Verstappen has done this year as well?
Yeah, exceptional. I mean, he had a dominant car at the start of the year, and he got the wins when he needed to, and then genuinely thought he probably wasn't going to win this championship, and he delivered week in, week out, and got the best result the car was capable of, and his rivals didn't. And I thought it was going to go right to the wire, and yeah, he won 3 races to go. So, huge congrats to him. We just got to make sure that we get ourselves in that fight and give him a harder time, because it's about time I think we feel ready to try and take that challenge to the front.
All right, George, very well done today. Thank you very much. Lewis, let's come to you. What a charge by you today. You had so much pace. How much did you enjoy it, first of all?
Yeah, I had a great time. when you're progressing and moving forwards, it's always a great feeling. But it felt very much like my old days at Rye House, like starting at the back and coming through. So it was great.
Was this the best the car has been this year? Better than Silverstone, even?
Honestly, I don't really remember it. So best of recent, of course. We've got a really good balance in the car today. I felt a lot better than it was yesterday, particularly Q3 yesterday. But just phenomenal for the team.
Without that difficult Q3 yesterday, how different might today have been for you?
It doesn't really matter. It really does it. At the end of the day, George did a great job, did everything he was supposed to do, and I'm happy for him. And I'm just grateful I could get back up there to support the team where they want to. And
do you share George's optimism that you might be able to carry this pace to Qatar next weekend?
I have no idea. I mean, I don't think anyone in the team knows why we're as quick as we are this weekend, and everyone will be happy about it. But I think often in the hotter conditions we struggle more. When we go into maybe Qatar is not so bad because it's a little bit cooler there and the track is very smooth. So maybe we'll not be too bad at that track. I think we were okay there last year. Abu Dhabi, maybe less so, but we'll see.
All right, Lewis, final one. Can we get a quick word from you on the job that Max has done this year?
He's done a fantastic job. He's not made any mistakes, and he's delivered every time and every point he's supposed to. And him and his team have done the best job again, 4th year in a row. And definitely got exciting at one point. I think they will be hard to beat next year because they probably started earlier than everyone else developing next year's car as well. So, but yeah, really happy for him.
Thank you very much. Carlos, coming to you now, your 8th podium of the season, but it looked like there were a few challenges out there. How did it play out for you today?
Yeah, more challenges, more things going on than maybe what we expected. At the same time, I think today Mercedes was just the quicker car, the quicker package. I think George and Lewis drove a very good race. At the same time that we just struggled too much with graining, more than what we were anticipating. And it meant that we couldn't push on the tires. We were having to save so much that we couldn't use the pace of the car. And we were just simply not fast enough. Not our day.
Can we talk about pit stops and the radio traffic that there was at half distance? It seemed you wanted a pit, but the team weren't ready for you. What happened?
Yeah. We just simply didn't execute. In general, we just didn't execute a very good race. I think we stayed out 1 lap too late on mediums, 2 laps too late on hards, and by the time I was gonna pit, we had this messy radio communication with in the pit entry, which probably made me lose that lap that I was completely grained, and I had to let pass Charles, plus the 2 or 3 seconds that I lost in the pit entry. That means a lot of race time that maybe would have meant we could have ended up fighting Lewis. But it just shows that in this sport you need to do things perfectly, weekend in, weekend out. We've been doing things really well in strategy and on race management all year around. But today wasn't our day. We just didn't do things well, and we will have to learn from it and make sure we come back in Qatar stronger.
Well, let's talk about Qatar. The battle in the Constructors' Championships now, 24 points between Ferrari and McLaren. How do you see it playing out over the next 2 races?
We just need to go into that trying to maximize whatever we have. I think over the last few weekends we've done a good job. I think today the maximum, yesterday the maximum was a P2 in quali. Today the maximum was a P3 in the race. In Qatar, the maximum might be a P5 or a P6, because in that car, with this car in a track like Qatar, I expect to struggle, and I expect McLaren and Mercedes to be very strong, probably also even Red Bull, given that they were strong also in quali in Austin. So I think it's going to be a very challenging weekend for us. That's why today it was important for us to get maximum number of points available, and we kind of did that for the pace that we had.
Okay. And final one, can we get a word from you on Max Verstappen, please?
Yeah, congrats. I think he's driven for 4 years now at an incredibly high level. I think this year he just dominated whenever he had a dominant car, and then he didn't do mistakes and maximize the points that he could get with a less so performing car, and just did whatever he had to do in every race. And congrats, because he clearly deserves it.
Okay, thanks to all 3. Right, let's open this to the floor. Name and publication, please.
Luke Smith from The Athletic. Carlos, Charles seemed pretty upset about what happened in the race between the 2 of you in position swapping. Could you give your side of it and how you feel things played out?
Yeah, I think he grained the medium tires, and I managed to get ahead before the pit stop on mediums. Then I did grain my hards, and he was coming quick behind me. And me anticipating what it was going to be a situation, because Lewis was straight behind Charles at the time, and I was pretty sure the team was going to ask me to let Charles by because he was quicker at the time. As I was on grain tires, I asked the team 2 or 3 times to box me, to get me out of the way, and get me in a new set of hards to make sure that I wasn't losing a lot of race time by having to let Charles by and then having to fight Lewis at the same time. For some reason we didn't box, and I ended up having to let Charles by a lap later than was planned and losing a lot of race time, and by the time I was going to box, then we didn't even box. So I guess he's not happy, but I'm also not happy with the way things were handled at the time, and I think no one's happy today in the team because we all expected a bit more. I'm on the podium, so at least I got that for the team. But at the same time, I don't think we could have finished much better than P3 and P4 today.
Thank you, Carlos. Next one.
Tom Carey, Telegraph. Lewis, after what happened in Brazil and the disappointment there, and you spoke earlier this week about how difficult that was and how you just wanted to get away from it all. How important was it to have a weekend like this where the car was really firing and you produced a drive the way you did? I know you were disappointed not to have taken pole obviously yesterday, but a good performance today.
Yeah, great performance. It's not that I didn't think I could do it. So I've had many races like this, but I'm generally happy to have had the recovery and what's matter. It was a new day, and I just tried to approach it with a positive mindset, and to be able to have a car underneath me today and be able to push and overtake people was such a great feeling. That was honestly one of the most enjoyable races. Yeah, first started pole and just led the way. Wouldn't have felt as much fun, for sure. Of course, winning a Grand Prix is always a great thing, but when whoever it is faces adversity and that has to battle through, it just feels so much better when you do succeed. So,
thanks, Lewis. Next one.
Ben Waterworth, Royal Sports Australia. Just a question for all three. With such a short turnaround between now and Qatar next week, what can you each do to acclimatise from the quite chilly conditions here in Vegas to obviously the quite extreme heat in Qatar with such a short turnaround?
I mean, there's not really anything you can do in these days. The preparation needed to happen beforehand, and it's going to be a challenge for everyone, but we're all in the same boat. So no one's going to be on peak condition personally, but it's just about limiting the losses.
Depends how big the party is tonight, Josh. Lewis, please.
Yeah, not really much more to add to that. Not a huge amount. To just get there as soon as you can.
Same. I think, as George said, it is down to the fitness that you've accumulated during the first part of the year and keeping yourself fit and healthy. It will be quite a shock to the body, but if you're fit, you're healthy, and you manage to keep yourself warm here, don't get any colds, take melatonin whenever you have to take melatonin, and go to sleep whenever you have to go to sleep, it should get it done. But I agree that no one will be in peak form in Qatar.
All right, thanks all three. Next one.
Ben Hunt, Autosport. Two questions. First one, George, can you just confirm whether you jumped in the fountain or not? I see you've got wet clothes. Just wanted to...
No, I really wanted to do it, but I was so cold after the race, I thought, I'm going to get super ill. And this time last year, I actually caught pneumonia, and I was ill all the way into mid-February after Vegas and Abu Dhabi. So I was like, in the moment I really want to do it, but then I was thinking back to the struggles I had this time 12 months ago, because it's such a toll on the body, but it's from all the champagne, to be honest, while I was soaking wet.
To follow that up then, can I just get your three thoughts on Las Vegas Grand Prix? Timing's obviously very hard. George, you mentioned having a snooze before qualifying, but could you sum it up for us, what you think, what you'd like to change, or whether it needs changing? Obviously coming at such a crucial point in the year, you mentioned fatigue, that's a big part of it.
I mean, obviously it's not great timing at all for the people who are here in the moment, but we're 20 drivers, let's say 4,000 people who do all the F1 races collectively, and there's tens of millions of people who watch at home. So I'd probably say having it back to back with Qatar is the biggest challenge. If we have a week off afterwards, I'd say that's probably the only thing realistically that would help.
Lewis, your thoughts?
I think it's great. I think the race is amazing. So really happy to. Yeah, for sure, the back-to-back is not the easiest, It's massively challenging for everyone here, and particularly for the people that work in the garages that are on their feet, taking the car to pieces now, packing it up and shipping it over, and they won't get a lot of rest. So for them, it's definitely the hardest, but they love it, and I don't even think if you was to ask them to change it, they would do this 10 times over. So, but the actual race is absolutely fantastic. It's such a great event. They've really, really done a mega job this year. So, can't wait to come back next year.
Yeah, I think it's been a step forward compared to last year. I feel like last year, F1, if anything, was trying a bit too hard to put on too much of a show, go a bit too much away from Formula One and too much into Vegas style. And I feel like this year we've just been more normal, doing our own thing, and it's been a success. It just shows the Formula One product works, and you don't need to try too hard. And I'd bring the race a couple hours earlier if I could. I think it would help everyone in the paddock, everyone that does the job in this sport. I think would put everyone in a healthier, better mood through the weekend. So a couple of hours early race and timings, and not a back-to-back with Qatar. That's what I would ask F1 as the next step. For the rest, great circuit to put on a good race, great for overtaking, challenging track. I wouldn't change anything, just those two details. I think.
Thank you. Yeah, we have another one.
Sam Johnston, Sky Sports. Lando in recent weeks has kind of emitted some feelings of inferiority towards going up against Max. I was wondering kind of if you guys were in similar machinery, let's say next year, in the kind of way Lando and Max have been for most of this season. Do you feel Max is operating at a level above, or you're all confident you could take him on and duel him in a fight for the title next year?
Yeah, definitely. Nobody's unbeatable. And you go through these phases where teams and drivers together are dominating, and people think, if I went up alongside them, I wouldn't be able to compete with them. And you got to have belief in yourself. I think the three of us here all believe in ourselves. And for me personally, when I teamed up with Lewis, Lewis is the greatest of all time, and Max is right up there with Lewis. So yeah, I absolutely believe in myself that we could fight him in equal machinery.
I think that's what the question was, really.
Do you feel Max is unbeatable, Lewis, going into next season?
It really depends whether they have a second and a half advantage at the first race again, like they did this year.
Carlos?
As much as I think Max has done an incredible job this year, it just shows the second half of the season, 8 drivers within a tenth of each other. We could all beat him week in, week out. No, he was extremely good, at dominating with a dominant car, and extremely good at not making mistakes the second half of the season, and that's what's given him, for me, driver of the year and the championship. But the second half of the season just shows that when we are all in more of an equal machinery, we can all go up against each other and make each other's life difficult, and everyone starts making mistakes when they're under pressure, and everyone starts complaining about their car, and everyone starts complaining in the media about their car, and it's all about pressure management and not having that margin. Whenever you don't have that 2-3 tenths margin on your nearest rival or your teammate, suddenly a pressure ramps up and everyone is human.
Thanks all. We have another one. Yes, please.
Ian Parks, New York Times. Lewis, question for yourself. Just over here, thank you. One of the bits of advice you just gave there to the young drivers was to not be weighed down by adverse criticism. I'm just wondering why you said that. I'm just wondering whether you perhaps feel that you might have been adversely criticised this season, given the struggles.
It's not about this year. We're talking about youngsters. We're talking about 18-year-olds. And I remember when I was 22, and you're thrown in the deep end. You've been given training as a young driver through the younger series, but you're not. Most of them probably don't have a PR person. the team will have a PR person, but they're not looking out for you, they're looking out for the team. And so you're thrown in the deep end and you're trying to be nice and people take advantage of you. And so my guidance, like if I had a young driver and I was looking after him, I would put a lot of support around him so that people can get to him. And the socials and media and stuff would not be able to affect that young individual's mindset. And I think that protecting that is really important, because then, I think it's really about giving people, firstly, them getting the opportunity and not knocking them down when they make mistakes. Which one of you or anyone here, 18 years old, 19 years old, has not made mistakes? And it's just that when you do it in the spotlight, it's really, really, really tough. And so we should be lifting these people up and giving them not just one chance, two chances, just continue to support them and just not slating them, and because that's it's just not nice.
Thank you. We will leave it there.